ladies and gentlemen, my name is Khadija Abubakar Idris, news anchor of Press Club, Yobe State University. I present to you our first talk room show with Comrade Isa Gambo Igbi, news president. And the talk room will be so interesting, amazing, and each and every one of you will find it so amazing and enjoy. All right. Sir, can you introduce yourself?
Good day, everyone. I am Isa Gamboibi, President of the National Union of Yobe State Students, Yobe State University Chapter. Today, I was invited to talk about the relationship between students and student leaders. And as we all know, leadership isn't about titles, it's about trust. And trust is built on connection, understanding, and accountability. And today, I was privileged to stand here before you because leadership is a partnership between students and their leaders.
We have like some questions that we want to elaborate on. Okay. So it will be going like one by one.
All right.
If we take like per session, then we go for break, and when we come back, then we talk about the second session up to the end. So the first thing here is communication and representation. Under communication, we want you to discuss about like how union leaders effectively communicate to student issues or student problems. Like how do you communicate with the student whenever they have problem or issue?
Okay. So talking about communication, it's highlighted that the relationship between students and their leaders, we want to work together, communicate better, and also achieve what we want to achieve, right? So in terms of communication, I can say that active listening. A leader or a student leader must be active listener to his fellow students to address their concerns and their problems immediately, because there are things that need to be addressed promptly, and there are those ones that can be attached to the president's action plans or the student leader action plan. So if they need something, if it needs urgent response, it will attend to it. And secondly, it's open door policy. A student leader should make himself accessible to his fellow student to ensure that their voice had been voiced out. So these are the two things. And the thirdly and the last one is, for example, I take it as something more than all of this. It's anonymous polls. Anonymous polls, I take it as those students that cannot voice their concerns can use that, because they will not submit their name. They left no way to be tracked as to what they said. If the student leader may feel offended, he doesn't know. He doesn't know.
Yes. So you can't betray like the person that sent the message to you.
Exactly.
So if I get you right, you are talking about the channels of communication between you and the student. So looking at the fact that we are now in global era, or I can say 21st century, like we are in modern world, right? How are you managing to respond to the your social media handles, like WhatsApp, Facebook, as Instagram? Because students usually used to cast their problem or post it in the groups. How can you attend to that?
So majority of the students use social media handles to receive information regarding those unions or schools. A lot of students use social media on their day-to-day academic struggle in the university, right?
Yes.
So, but before that, there is maybe physical notice board that informs students about information before. Yeah. But now we are in digital world, we use social media handles. So, speaking of me directly, I open use WhatsApp as the most visited app in a day, because majority of the unions have their channels, WhatsApp groups, handles on IG.
Social media handles?
I usually attend through WhatsApp, because when you open my WhatsApp, the first thing you will see is National Union of Yobe State Students.
All right, you pin it?
Chapter. Yes, I pin it there. I pin it there to ensure that any new message, not the first, but among the first people that
all right. So how can a student or students, how do you accountable for not attending to their interests? So especially when they post something, like for instance, if you have problem, they post it in the group and you didn't attend, like how can they hold you accountable for that?
Usually use petitions, yeah. It's the most suitable way, and also anonymous messages and suggestion, using of suggestion boxes. But petition, it's usually better, because students can to inform those leaders.
All right, by this, we'll go to break, and when we come in, we will continue with this session.
Okay.
To the second session of this talk room. If you didn't forget, we are talking about the relationship between student leaders and then the student, whereby the president talk about how the student will communicate to them and how can they respond to their problems. So we will now kindly and gently move to the second session of the talk room, which is trust and transparency. Mr. President, what are the key factors that influence trust between students and you as a union leaders?
So thank you. First of all, let me say consistency.
Consistency in the sense?
Yes, consistency in the sense that student leaders should prioritize their promises. We all pass the process of being a leader. To be a leader, a lot of us make promises. So standing fit to ensure that that promise is delivered is your first priority. That those students that trust you, that's the issue of trust. Those students that trust you, you haven't proved them wrong. You proved them right. Secondly, honesty. As a quality of leaders, you're supposed to be honest with everybody. Anybody you meet, you ensure that you disseminate all the good qualities. So thirdly, I can say it's accountability and transparency. And lastly, accessibility. A lot of students may trust you if you are accessible to them. If they can come to you, let their complaints, and you as a leader to attend to that complaints and resolve it. They may take you as in somebody who is on his own word and delivering on his mandate as a student leader. That's the few qualities I...
All right. So how can union leaders demonstrate in their decision-making process and action, demonstrate this transparency and accountability that you have mentioned?
So as a student leader,
yes,
there are procedures. We all have action plans that what we intend to do as students, as elected leaders, right? We all have action plans, and we need to sit down with our executives to discuss. So to ensure that transparency and accountability, we should not leave the student unaware of our action plan. They should know. They should know our struggle. They should know what we are going through. Regular updates, giving them that we are working on this. We are trying our best to do this. And if it happens to we succeeded, they will know. But leaving them in dilemma, thinking, not knowing about everything. They may say that we are not working, we are not processing anything. But giving them that open door information or action plans demonstrate that, okay, we are transparent. This is our resolution on this, so. We have worked to ensure that this is delivered, but there are some limitations to our procedures or whatsoever. We are so sorry, we apologize. To have that communication with those students create a sense of transparency and accountability.
Yes, without discrimination among the students, everybody is equal, and without any like showing of indifference and all of that.
Exactly.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. By this, we'll go for break, and when we come, we'll continue from where we stopped. Welcome to the third session of our talk room. We are now into the third session of the discussion, which is conflict resolution and feedback. Mr. President, you are welcome.
Thank you.
How can conflict between student and union leaders be resolved effectively?
So, first of all, thank you, but I can say that we don't hope for that complete occurrence. But in a situation when we had conflict,
like what are the mechanisms you put in place?
So, first of all,
in order to address
mediation. We need to have a third party that will come and resolve that. Because when you want to make a resolution of a conflict, you're supposed to hear from the both parties, the students and also the student leader. So, in a situation where there is a conflict, an open dialogue should be organized, maybe to talk
the cause of
the causes
of the conflict,
the problem,
and how,
and the possible solutions.
Ways, yes, to solve it.
So that comes the meditation. It's supposed to include a third party that will listen to both parties and also make a resolution.
All right, we call it alternative dispute resolution in our profession.
Law, okay.
So, as a union leader, like, how are you responding to student feedbacks and concern in constructive and timely manner? Like, if there is a conflict between a student and student, how you usually used to do to address that?
So, a town hall meeting.
Will be organized for the students?
Yes, for the student and the student leaders to come, open up, talk, and ensure that we reach to an agreement. So a town hall meeting can include all the stakeholders, the president of various unions, the union that it's having issue, and the student concerned students to come, sit, and talk. So I think organizing this town hall meeting immediately is the best and constructive way to solve that.
All right. So we will not go for break now.
Okay.
We'll move to another agenda, which is student engagement and participation. What can you say about this? Like the engagement of students and their participation to the politics.
Union activities?
Yes, to union activities and to the politics of the university entirely.
Okay. So let me take the politics, but I can refer that to leadership roles.
All right.
So women.
When we talk of politics, we mean Yobe State University politics.
Okay, Yobe State University. To be more specific, thank you for that input. Yeah. Women are less.
Talk generally first.
Okay, talking about generally,
yes.
Alhamdulillah, a lot of students engage themselves in union activities, in leadership roles also. As you can see, there are
various clubs,
all up to more than 17 clubs and unions in Yobe State University. So, aside that, a lot of unions have their student senate, student representative assembly to ensure equal representation, to ensure that those student voices are heard.
Let me come.
Okay.
Like, I'm talking about student engagement. Like, let me give you an insight so that you build your ideas based on it.
Okay.
Like, for instance, you used to organize a programs. Like, how can you relate the percentage of student participation in attending of that program you used to organize?
First of all, in that kind aspect, we use promotion at first. We used to promote that event to ensure it reaches maximum population, that the student to be aware that we are organizing this event. First of all. Secondly, in terms of participation or participant, sometimes it depends on the kind of event or program.
Yeah.
So if we need a maximum turnout, we used to, after the promotion, we give flyers and we give room to every student to attend. But if we need, if we had certain number of participants we want, we used to maybe distribute
reach out
slots
to students, yes,
to their presidents or representation. We request representation rather than just
students.
Yeah.
So how can you relate, like, this student engagement, how can you relate it to participation of female, particularly in this university?
Participation of women, we used to mobilize women.
Female students.
Yes, we used to mobilize them to ensure that they come. And in sometimes maybe out of this Ramadan season, we used to offer incentives like refreshment, maybe certificates for participation. A lot of incentives policy we used to impose on that to ensure that those students are carried along. And in terms of student participation, the women are less participant in leadership roles. I'm currently working on it because I understand that in Yobe State University, a lot of female students doesn't participate in leadership roles. Why? Because some of them will say that I'm here on my primary assignment, that's the academics, I don't want to be distracted.
Yeah.
So in my own initiative, I'm thinking, or I'm working on coming up with a forum for women to come, sit, support each other, and discuss all issues related to
create an awareness to them that to participate in politics is nothing but just like having an exposure and all of that.
Yes.
Mr. President, thank you for taking time with us, and we really appreciate your presence and the insight you make based on leadership, or based on relationship between leadership and students. And we really appreciate you because we heard from you how students will communicate to you, the trust and transparency between you and the students. And we also discussed about the participation and engagement of students to politics, including female students. And you said that you are even working to come up with a program or forum that will create an awareness to the student that to participate in politics is not much, is nothing much but to have an exposure and all of that. Mr. President, we really appreciate your presence, and we wish that whenever we call you or we call your attention, you honor our invitation.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much. Website, Yobe State University student. We really appreciate you for taking time to be with us. I'm Khadija Abubakar Idris, the news anchor of Press Club.
Together, I'm Isa Gambo Ibi.
We wish you a happy day.